Okay, now, students wanted me to do some stand-up. We're giving them 5 minutes. 5 minutes. So I had to rule out a whole lot of stuff. I don't do one-liners, so if you want one-liners, you can leave now. Nobody left, good, okay. So I do just stories, short vignettes between me and my patients, me and the clinic students, me and patients in the clinic, and some random stuff at the end, okay? So first, my patients in my old practice. Vera and Violetta. They're both Eastern European ladies. They don't know each other. They're late 70s. I've treated them for 30 or 40 years. Violetta first. She comes in, she sits in the chair. These are all true stories. She sits in the chair, she says to me, this is my Eastern European lady voice. She says, Dr. Brown, you cannot retire until I die. I said, Violetta, I promise, but one day I may have to kill you. Now Vera comes in. Vera's on her last legs. They don't know each other. But she comes in with Sophia, her daughter, and her daughter sits in the waiting room because Vera's really on her last legs. I take her into the room, I do her checkup, and at the end I said to her, Vera, I'll see you in 6 months. She says, now she's going to sound a lot like Violetta, so I only have one Eastern European lady voice. So Vera says, oh, Dr. Braun, I will not be here in 6 months. I said, come on, Vera, you'll be here in 6 months. You're a real trooper. So I walked her out to the waiting room. Thank goodness I walked her out to the waiting room, because she walks out to the waiting room and she proudly says to her daughter, Sophia, Sophia, Dr. Braun called me a real stormtrooper. Thank you. Now, another Eastern lady, Newfoundland, not Eastern European, but Newfoundland, has to be Newfoundland. Mabel. Mabel comes in, she sits in the chair. I say to her, Mabel, we're going to have to take out your upper left wisdom tooth. But don't worry, upper wisdom teeth are always easier than lower wisdom teeth. Mabel from Newfoundland says, yes, I would think so. All right. I read a lot of these by Nora El-Mawafi, and she understood some of them, so I think we're going to be okay. So I said, she says, yes, I would think so. I said, why, Mabel, do you think so? She said, I'm not kidding, gravity. I said, Mabel, you're absolutely right. When I take out a lower wisdom tooth, I usually ask patients to stand on their head. Now, students in the clinic. Two quick stories. Student comes up to me and says, on Wednesdays, I used to work with Dr. Salzberg, Dr. Tobe, unfortunately gone, but Dr. James Brown, Dr. Turner, Dr. Lawson, they're all 80 plus. I walk into a room, a 6-year-old guy in the chair looks at me and he says, oh good, a young one. Another student comes up to me, says, Dr. Brown, I need you to do the medical history. I said, okay, let's walk and you tell me about the patient. She says, well, this patient is really, really old. She's on a ton of medications. And I said, how old is she? She said, 77. And I said, oh my God, and she's still alive? Now, there's funny people, funny patients as well. I walk into a room. Jokes all the time. So I walk into a room and they're talking about marriage. And I walk in and there's 2 students and there's a 7-year-old guy in the chair. And I said, I was just reading a book on marriage. I said, guess how many years people are married if they're going to get divorced before they get divorced? First student says 1 year. I said, what are you, an idiot? Second student says 20 years. I said, get out of here. I said, the average number of years people are married if they're going to get a divorce is 4 years. The 7-year-old guy in the chair looked at me and he said, you know what? I was married for 6 years. I should have read the book. Okay. Now, just some random stuff. These are all true. I don't make this stuff up. Paul and I, we ride our bikes all year round. We do these bike and barge trips every other summer. Doesn't matter how much we ride, the first day, afterwards, the ride, after dinner, I'm hopping up and down with cramps in my legs. Lady comes up to me, she says, here, take 2 of these. 2 big honking white pills. I don't ask anything, I just pop them. Half an hour later, no cramps. I don't wake up at night with cramps, it's amazing. So I go up to her in the morning, I said, you know, that was spectacular. What was it? She said, well, I'm a gynecologist from Indianapolis. I give them magnesium. I give them to all my pregnant patients because they get cramps in their legs. So I said, well, that was amazing. So at the end of 7 days, the end of the trip, I went up to her. I said, we've only got one problem. I said, you're a gynecologist in Indianapolis, and I live in Toronto. Can you give me the name of a good gynecologist in Toronto? I got a fax machine. This is also true. I got a fax machine. It's put in on a Friday. Nobody knows my fax number. I come in Monday morning, and there's a fax. And I look at it. It's an OHIP form. It's for Alex, with his medications, with his medical history and everything. It's from a doctor, and I'm not kidding. They want me to do a vasectomy. So, do I phone Alex? Do I phone the doc? It's 8:30 Monday morning. I figured, I'll phone the doc. So I phoned the doc, and she answered. So I said, you know what? I got this stuff on Alex. I know all about him, all this personal information. I said, there's only one problem. I said, I'm a dentist, and you want me to do a vasectomy. But I think if you walk me through it, I can do it with my drill. Last. This is it. 30 years ago, 3 little kids in the back of the minivan, Paula's in the front. We're going to Cleveland, Ohio for the hot holidays because our brother-in-law is the head rabbi of the 3rd largest Reformed synagogue in the United States. Good, you didn't boo, that's good. That was your chance to boo America. Okay. So, anyway, so we're driving, and 2,500 families, and we get there a little late. And there's tons of parking spots, but there's nothing available. So we go around once, no spots. Go around a second time, no spots. But I am going to find a spot. We go around the 3rd time, and right in front of the main doors is a spot. And I pull in. And Paula says, what are you doing? I said, I'm parking. This is the best spot around. She said, you can't park here. I said, why not? She said, look at the sign. I looked at the sign. I said, so? She said, what does the sign say? I said, the sign says visiting clergy. She said, so? I said, that's what we're doing. Now, this is why Paul and I are still married after 42 years, 6 months, and 25 days. Same sense of humor. Same sense of humor. Paula goes for a colonoscopy. That's not funny. Paula goes for a colonoscopy. Doctor's alone. He takes her into his room, takes her medical history, her medicines, everything. He says, okay, you can go in that room and take your pants off. And Paula says, aren't you going to buy me dinner first? Thanks for coming and supporting all the students. I'll be going. Don't forget to take